and all the different points to go through and do that, but I figured it was time we took to the real world. This guy, so new, we don't even have the lenses yet, so I'm gonna get started on that. I've already done some of it. There's a few steps involved here. I've got it to just let the machine run while we chat about adjusting and fitting, because I wear this frame a lot, so I have all the measurements, didn't need to pre-adjust or pre-fit anything, and darn it, they always just fit so well to begin with anyway. It's probably why I like this frame so much. But yeah, that's not how things work. So let's go ahead and get this lens running. I like everything I've got set up here. That'll take a little while. While that does its thing, I'm obviously wearing a different pair today. So the first few steps here, generally I'll take one of these, hit it on the polish real quick before I do anything else. It's just one of the extra steps we do here. This one, for once, this one must have came straight from, yeah, no sort of mistouches there. Everything looks great. I don't need to give it a quick once over for the polish. And you know, that's out of the scope for most people to be able to do anyways. And that's excessively good. I don't even have to mess with the bevel on the lenses. So this is all easy. Everything's so set up for mine, it might as well be just touch the buttons and let it do its thing. So for the overall fit on these guys, we'll make a few little tweaks. I'm gonna wait till the lenses are done, so it's just like you getting your first pair of glasses and seeing how, you know, what happens after that. If you bought glasses before, hopefully this step happens just naturally when you pick up your glasses, right? I hope so, but unfortunately I hear often that isn't the case. We'll see how it goes. We'll have some fun with it. We're gonna let this guy run for a minute. Yeah, that'll take a while. You know, had I thought this through more, I would have had one lens cut already, because these are about a 7-minute processing time. Not a big deal, but I thought it'd be fun to record, let you sit through, at least for the live section, seeing what goes into kind of this side of things and that guy. If you've seen any of my TikTok videos, this guy will run through, or even the YouTube shorts. I do a lot of those that kind of shortcut this whole process, but it takes much longer than it would appear at face value. Since that's going to be a while, we could go ahead and do some basic adjustments. Really the only thing that's going to change when we put the lenses in here is how wide this is not. And you know, the way I've got that bevel set, it really shouldn't stretch it out. Some weird stuff down in there. So, well, I didn't know if you were still around. That's unfortunate, Sergio. You had the Lindbergh frame and the pretty heavy lenses in it, right? That's just a whole mess of a situation. Sorry you're having to go through that one. You know, there is something I want to polish out. That I can fix after the fact. We got just a couple little nicks right here in it. I don't even think the camera would show it up. Alright, almost there. She's off to do some more spinning. We're skipping steps on this cut through today. But so the overall fit on this frame, you know, I wear the Amsterdam a lot. I keep going back to it because it just fits great out of the box. I don't have to mess with it too much. A little bit crooked and a little bit close on this cheek, which is great actually. That's a really good place to start and show off some of the adjustments that need to be done. Unfortunately, which is also part of the reason, everything behind the ears on these is good. The overall balance of the frame is good, so there's not a whole lot of advanced adjustment needed, but at least some of the basic stuff needs to be done, which, you know, that's the more common adjustments anyways. So Sergio, Ray-Bans aren't exactly known for their fit and balance either. They make such a wide range of frames, I wouldn't know where to start on what to go through for that frame. Should be a little bit better of balance than the Lindbergh just right off because there's more weight to the frame overall. But there's definitely some room for adjustment and improvement there. We almost have one lens. Time to get our heat going here. This is the part that's never fun. You got, it's a little too low, but there's our little, there we go. There's our little guy there. It's going to get the frame heated up nicely, aside from it sitting on my face. So, as I mentioned, we'll get this leveled up just a little bit. Nothing too crazy on these, and I actually think it's coming from that little nick I saw there first, because these are pushing out. But we'll get to that. That's a little bit different. Yeah. So the big thing here for getting them level, of course, the temples are even, right? So if we sit this on the table, that's not going to rock back and forth. Everything's good there. You know, it's sitting really nice and even. Nothing too crazy to that. But my ears aren't even. So that means, you can see, I originally intended to do a whole different video. So this guy, we need to get leveled up. And that is just a tick low. Yeah. Over here. So there's a few different ways we can make that adjustment. We can do it in the hinge right here, and let's go ahead and get this guy out of here. Get that left lens processing so we can really roll with it now. That one needs to run a little bit longer because if it slips, it's not good. This one did not slip, all good. We'll double check the fit on that. We'll get to that in a minute, because I don't want to throw the lens in here while we're halfway into adjusting. So, as I was mentioning, there's a few ways you can do that. You can make the adjustment to get them level here or a little bit further back here. In this case, these particular hinges, we've got about 6 degrees of panto, but that's going to create a little bit of a gap up here. So, in this case, I actually prefer to make that bend a little bit further back here. So we'll bring that down. It doesn't take a huge amount of pressure. You can't even quite see the little bit of difference in level, but if I bring it around that way, you can see this one tapers down just a little bit more on that side. And it was close to begin with, but that brought it back up, so now we're nice and straight across that top edge. More importantly, eyes are sitting nice and level in the frame as well. Now, I'm going to throw this lens in here because, as I mentioned, it was close on one cheek, but that can actually change once I get the lenses in here. Just based on the bevel and the wrap of it. We shot a little steeper on mine, just because that's how I like to do it. Oh yeah. Yeah, Martin, those are, I love the nice strong 5-barrel hinges. In particular, these Italian ones are really good. They're designed to have about 6 degrees of adjustment. And I don't know if you can really see that on here or not, but that little lip at the front is what gives us a little bit of room to make that adjustment up or down on the hinge. The only thing, as I mentioned, you get a little bit of a gap at the top or the bottom if you make the bend in the hinge rather than farther back here. That's more of a preference thing. I kind of like the nice, clean, tight fitted finish. So when I can, I'll make the adjustment in the temple rather than in the hinge itself. If it's a metal frame, you can get by with doing that without creating any gaps anywhere. I will lean towards doing that in the hinge a little bit more. Just kind of depends on what you're working with in particular. I talked so long, I let my frame get cold. That's a new problem. It was too hot and it cooled off and I didn't get to play with it. Alright, I should have been nice and done that on camera. Lens is going in here, seating the thicker parts of the lens first into the thicker part of the frames. The frame is nice and toasty, the sizing is beautiful and perfect, and just a little bit of easy pressure. You may have heard those snaps, you may not, but it is nice and clean and seated. We didn't gouge the frame anywhere because it's got a good clean cut to it. So, left eye, gonna double check that bevel, see how everything looks here. It's a little far back for my taste through there, and cuts a little weird through there. So this is the one, and it always works out this way. The ones with some cylinder are the ones that need a little bit more finesse and finagling to get everything seated really nice the way I like. There it is. Beautiful. Okay. Now, back to this. So, now we got one lens, and that's a good indicator. I can't see anything. That's what you want with the new glasses, right? This is blue on blue. It's all good. It's all good. All right, so the next step there, now I have a dirty lens. Nobody likes a dirty lens. So let's get this guy cleaned up. Actually, look at that. I don't super love the bevel on this. I said I did. It'll work. It'll work for today and for this video. And I'll cut a new lens another time. Oh, it's actually not the bevel. It's the sticker. Yeah, that happens. So with these super slick lenses, you have to put this little guy on there, which actually makes the pad stick to the lens because the lens is so darn sticky to begin with, or so slickery and not sticky to begin with, that we need something to increase the friction there so the lens doesn't turn in there and come out really, really, really bad. And you'll notice I never have this off the screen for super long. It does not take a whole lot of heat to get these warmed up enough to be nice and malleable. And you'll see, as I mentioned, I put a little bit more wrap than you would normally see in the bevel on this one. So we brought this back in a little bit actually. It's one of those little tricks. And yeah, that's already got it off the foot. Sorry, Sergio, when I've got my back to you, I can't see what you're typing. So I see a question mark, but let's see if I can pull the chat up here. Which brands I can try with nose pads? You know, for me, I'm not a huge fan of nose pads in general. That's part of the reason I mostly work with acetate frames. Ones with nose pads with good balance right off. I don't know. I'll have to think about that. I'll try and get back to you on that one later. I say that, you know, I'm wearing this one with nose pads, but it's not exactly my most comfortable frame. I just love it so much that I don't particularly care. When I wear something comfortable, I always grab one of my Amsterdams. That's what I wear for traveling. That's what I wear out and about. I say that, I wear the T. Henry a lot too, and just deal with it. That's another one, actually. I need to go back and make lenses. See, I get sloppy on my own pairs. I'll have to make my own pair and rush through it, and I don't get to set the bevel exactly how I want. And that's kind of what's going on with these. They're a little flattened out, and they're not super like that, which makes it a little bit harder to get all of that proper clamping force and all of that set up. And we just don't love it when that happens. So we'll give this guy just a little bit of warmth. Our left lens is done. Now she's heated up. Now it's nice and spicy, nice and wet. So now we can get it in there. And that's what we said on the live video today. There you go. So same thing, thicker, thicker. Use the thinner edges and just work around, and boom, now the lens is in. Easy peasy. When the lens is the right size. When the lens is not the right size, it either falls in there and falls right back out, which we definitely don't love at all, or it's so tight you can't get it in there and you want to break your fingers and the frame in the process. All right, so now we have two lenses, so we can check out and see how we like that all over again. I didn't clean this lens. Now, so yeah, kind of as I suspected, and a little bit of this is just because of the beveling I put into the frame. We're more even on both sides now. So it's not really, you know, we're still a little bit closer on this side, but not a ton. So what you would want to do about that is you would add a little bit more curvature on that side, but I think that is just the light, not actually. It does, I do feel it a little bit more on this side. So we need the frame to kind of twist that way, right? And the way you would do that is you would add some more bend back in here. Notice, it seems like it's that one every time that I'm messing with, isn't it? And since I've been wearing this the whole video, it's warm enough for minor adjustment. At least a true acetate. It doesn't take a whole lot of heat. In fact, you won't see me use this guy Again, I already turned it off. No more heat coming out of that, because any adjustments I need to make from here are going to be super, super minor. Down behind the ears, you know, that's an area you'll generally need to tweak. The Amsterdam already fits really well on me. It's nice. The curvature goes right there and curves on back all the way around like I like it, which is why I have so many of this frame. This is number 12, 13. It's up there. Anyway, let me clean this other lens, and now that we've got that fitting, I'm going to show you one more tweak for behind the ears. This is the one that can make or break it, because if it's too loose, then it's going to fall off. If it's too tight, it's going to fall off, and it's going to hurt. That's two really crappy places to be for a pair of glasses. We don't like glasses falling off. We don't like glasses hurting. We like glasses on our face, looking pretty, helping us see the world even better, right? That's the point. We want to see and be seen, and it all be beautiful. So, throw these guys back on. It's good. I like it. But, as I mentioned, behind the ears, so while the curvature is in the right place, it's a little bit too flat back through here. You can never have too many of that one pair that's just perfect, okay? Never. Yeah, so on this guy, and again, I'm not gonna add much heat because I only need a little bit, and I've been wearing this, so it's got some nice heat to it. So bracing with my fingers here and here, palm kind of fingering and palming this frame, and just using the pressure on this fingertip to make that bend and bring it in. And that is going to get it just a little bit more arced, and what you're looking for is that to follow the curvature of the skull behind the ear. So now it's going down over the ear in the right place, but it's also curving into the skull back at the back edge. And that's what's not happening over here because I haven't adjusted that one yet. This one wasn't that way to begin with, but now it's following that nice contour, and you can see on camera there, it's actually touching nice and clean all the way back through. Don't judge, I need a haircut. It's probably horrible there. I can't see it. So now we need to do the same thing over here, and it's not touching from about here back. So we're gonna add a little bit more, same way. Hands and fingers kind of holding and palming the frame there. You wanna put this thumb where you want that bend to happen, and you're gonna use the pressure out here to kind of torque and get it into place. Welcome back, Sergio. Or is it Sergio? Sergio, Sergio, I don't know. We're going with it though. Since you can't talk back to me in other format than text, that's what you get today. All right, so we've got that kind of tightened in a little bit more, and that's good. So now the curvature on both of them is going back down over the ears, not too far forward to where it's cutting into behind, and it's not pressing in too much. Now the rub here is with an acetate frame, generally as they heat up, it is going to stretch and become a little bit more malleable. As you saw, just me wearing this for the, 15 minutes we've been working on this, it is warm enough to do minor and basic adjustments and hold that adjustment. So as I wear this frame over the next week or 2 weeks, okay, let's be realistic. I'm not gonna wear this frame every day, so over the next month, it is going to slowly open up just a little tiny bit. And we'll come back in after that happens. We'll readjust this frame just a little bit more to kind of fine tune it and get it back where it was after the material relaxes and gets to where it wants to be at. Once that's happened, and once that readjustment is done, typically you won't need to readjust the frames again for, depending on how often you wear them, of course, quite some time. My little signature lime green Amsterdam that you've probably seen a million times, I've adjusted twice. And 3 years, twice in 3 years. So very minimal maintenance after that point. Now, while we're here, that's kind of all I've got on this, but let's leave it open for questions here for a minute and see if anybody wants to chat about anything while I'm here with some time, because I actually had originally set up for a podcast today and that didn't work out. He got too busy, couldn't work. So, yeah. Now there's a little bit of a lag, so we'll give that a minute. Who makes... Oh, Martin. We hadn't talked about that before? You know, I'm very bad about that. I don't really get into the manufacturers too much unless I'm doing a review video. So This is the Laibach York Amsterdam. So I've got it in, I think, 12 colors. Sorry, apparently having some connection issues. But it's kind of funny it worked out that way. This one, actually, the blue, the reason for the blue, I saw him post this wearing it after they made it. And, ha! I said, that's mine, sir. He said, I'll send you one. Now, I pay for them too, so there's that. But, okay. If that is all, then that is all. I'll trim some of this off here when we go back for the not live. But I appreciate you guys dropping in today. This was kind of a last second decision to do it live. I enjoy this format because I get a little bit more back and forth. We get to play and have some fun. So I'll try and do more of these on Mondays. Monday is a day I can actually come down in the lab. I don't have the retail store open, so it's fun. It's fun. I have a little bit more time to play. I actually have a little bit more time to play. Look at these freaking things. And there will be a video on these later this week. I cut this one before the video. This is the T. Henry Valhalla. This guy's coming. We'll do that review later this week. That one I've got to ship out, unfortunately. That one myself. But, yep. It was good catching up with you guys. Good seeing you here. Appreciate you coming on for the live stream. And I will catch you guys another time later this week. Maybe not live, but I'll be around. Use those chats down below. We'll get it out. Take care.